and will be getting the boot when he is finally released. He must serve all of his sentence day for day. The tiny house village planned for Capers Avenue in West Jackson by the Jackson Resource Center will not be funded by the city. The council voted Tuesday to take back the nearly $3 million the city had promised for the project and put it toward other programs to help the homeless, reports WLBT. Part of the reason is that HUD had a problem with some changes made to the project after the city had agreed to give the money. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WIAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are
Welcome in to the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Hope everybody is having a great week. I cannot believe we are nearing the end of March. I feel like this year is flying by. You know, they always tell you when you're a kid that the older you get, the faster time goes by. And I don't think you really realize it until you realize it. And then you understand what they mean, because time certainly does seem like it is flying by. But it is a beautiful day out there. It is Thursday, and it is the day of at least this week's big debate. I think there's been a school choice debate the last several weeks. Of course, I debated Nancy Loom a few weeks ago over in Oxford, and then we had Mississippi Ready director, my good friend Leah Ferretti, who debated a superintendent over in Tupelo last week. And tonight is going to be the big, huge debate, panel debate with opposing views and views that are in favor of school choice. This is going to be held in Pearl at the Pearl Community Room, or the Gold Room, I guess is what they call it. It does start at 5:30. Let's see, I have the address somewhere because I was going to make sure I had it today. 2441 Old Brandon Road in Pearl. And so that will consist of myself, Gerard Gibbert, Leah Ferretti, Representative Jansen Owen, and Russ Latino of the Magnolia Tribune. So it's going to be very interesting. We will be debating, we'll be opposing the views of Nancy Loom, who is the executive director of the Parents Campaign, our pseudo teachers union here in Mississippi. I like to call them the anti-parents campaign. Darren Spann, who is the president of the Mississippi Association of Educators. Jamie Creel, who you've heard right here on WYAB. He is a sponsor of the station, and he's been on with Clay and Chip several different times. And Mariel Long, who is a former educator and a parent. They all have views that are opposing school choice, but I can't see those views overriding ours tonight. Of course, y'all know I'm competitive. I like to win, and I have no doubt that my team is going to be a very strong one tonight as we lay out the reasons why we believe that Mississippi needs education freedom and parents back in the driver's seat when it concerns their children and their children's education. I like to cite the over 100-year-old Supreme Court case, Pierce versus the Society of Sisters, which very clearly states that the child is not a mere creature of the state, and that it is the fundamental right of the parent to direct the upbringing of their children as they see fit. That, yes, does mean even in education. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say most definitely in the aspect of education, because when you tell parents you must send your child to school or we're going to fine you and put you in jail, but expect a parent to drop a child off at a government-run facility for 7 hours out of a day, then you better believe Parents are going to be concerned, parents are going to have questions, and parents are going to want to know exactly what goes on within the walls of that school daily, especially when their children are being influenced by those things. Of course, I'm a firm believer that my rights don't stop at the classroom door. My God-given, unalienable rights that I was born with, given to me by my creator. And I do not believe in co-parenting with the government, but I say that all the time. You guys know that. So lots of things happening that I want to get into today. We had a press conference yesterday. We saw Melania, beautiful Melania, walk out with a robot. Interesting. Now, y'all know I am deeply concerned about what happens in our public schools. Obviously, that's my passion. That's what I care so deeply about. That's what I talk about all the time. So, as AI starts being integrated into the public school system, and really all schools, I would imagine pretty much all schools are starting to implement AI, because at this point, when AI is used in so many different aspects of life, our children need to understand it. They need to know how to use it. They need to know how to be safe with it. But we can't just obviously box our children up and not allow them to learn as technology advances. Now, I don't know if that means putting a robot in front of children in a classroom and calling it a teacher. That scares me a little bit, because we know technology is a great thing. Advancements in technology are great until they're not, until there is a mishap, until there is content getting out to our children that's inappropriate, until these machines decide they want to override the program that was written by humans and go rogue. I think we've seen a few examples of that already as far as AI is concerned. And of course, that makes me a little uneasy as a parent. Can advancements in AI take the place of a lot of different jobs and careers? Absolutely. But those human beings who are teaching our children, is that one of those jobs that should be replaced with an AI non-human robot? Hmm. I'm not on board. I'm not there yet. Now, should these tools be used to supplement in our classrooms? Maybe. I don't think I know enough about it to really give an opinion on how I feel. It is scary to me. I think that parents need to be overly concerned with anything and everything that their children are viewing or taking part in with technology and screens, social media. We just saw, as soon as I got off air yesterday, there was an announcement that Meta had lost a pretty big ruling here in another court case coming out of a court in California. This judgment was $6 million. Now, again, that's a drop in the bucket for this giant company, Meta, who owns obviously Facebook, Instagram. That's no big deal for them. But Tuesday, we had the ruling out of New Mexico. Is it New Mexico or New Jersey? Getting my states that start with new confused here. And that was a $375 million ruling. And then yesterday, we get this ruling out of a California court where a child has become obsessed with social media. Addicted. They use the word addicted. Now, I don't know how much I agree with that being the platform's fault. I think a child's limits to social media and screens should start at home with the parents. The parents are the ones who make that call. So, where is the accountability there? Is it really this big conglomerate, this big platform's responsibility to make sure your child is not overusing social media? I don't know how they could possibly police that or control that. I thought the case from Tuesday was much stronger, where the attorney general put together this task force who created these fake accounts pretending to be minors and then documented all the instances of messages they received that were inappropriate, sexual exploitation. And then Meta's response, what did they do? Obviously, not enough. At least the jury felt it was not enough. I feel like that's a much bigger deal than saying someone has become addicted to social media. I really don't understand how that's the platform's responsibility there. But it is going to be very interesting to see in the future as we continue to make these advancements in AI, what role is that going to play within the walls of our schoolhouses? What role will that play in the everyday lives of our youth, our minors? It's a fine line between wanting to make sure kids are educated on the things happening, the advancements made within the technological world, tongue-tied today, but also making sure that we're protecting their innocence because it can so quickly go south. I don't necessarily know how government can regulate that or what their role should be. Now, we heard a lot about inside the big beautiful bill, there was a part of that said states could not regulate AI for at least 10 years. I think that ended up being amended before the bill passed because we saw a lot of our men and women in Congress have a big problem with that because again, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen as far as AI is concerned. So I think it's something that we need to keep a very close eye on. I got to admit, I was a little taken aback seeing this robot walk out next to Melania, and I'm a little nervous when we're talking about this being who is going to teach our kids in school. Now, if you want to send that robot to my house after you've taught it how to clean or cook, I'm all on board there. I will rally and advocate for somebody to pass a law that'll send a robot to my house to clean and cook and help take care of all the things. But seriously, it is gonna be interesting to watch this and see how it all unfolds and plays out as we continue to make more and more advances in technology. We gotta take a break. There's a whole lot of other things that I wanna break down today. Redistricts redris d blah, I really am tongue-tied today. Redistricting committees that made some waves on social media yesterday. I wanna talk about that. As far as our lieutenant governor and the people that he appoints, how does he come to those decisions, and does he make the right ones? I am not so sure. And state health officer here in Mississippi, Dr. Dan Edney, is being considered for a job within the Trump administration. How do I feel about that? I'm going to let you know when we get back. Y'all stay with us right here on the Lindsay Beckham Show, WYAB 1039. Beckham Show, WYAB 1039.
WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Right here in our backyard, sellers trust Purple Wave Auction to move their equipment, from excavators and ag equipment to trucks and specialty trailers. Our no-reserve online auctions help local sellers turn iron into opportunity. You get a dedicated territory manager who knows your operation, your market, and your timeline, backed by nationwide buyer demand, local service, national reach, real results. See why more sellers choose Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com to get started today.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Where do you stand in the pro-life community? If you're passionate about protecting the sanctity of life from fertilization to natural death, please join us at Pro-Life Mississippi as we make a difference and save lives right here in our own state. Pro-Life Mississippi is a community of individuals dedicated to equipping others to value all human life, including the preborn, those with disabilities, and the elderly. Our mission is simple: to provide unwavering support, education, and advocacy for the preborn, their families, and other vulnerable children and adults. If you're just starting your pro-life journey or you have been an advocate of life for many years, Pro-Life Mississippi needs your voice and talents to save lives in Mississippi. Together, we can make a difference in building a stronger pro-life Mississippi. Learn more about us at prolifems.org. That's prolifems.org. Be part of the community that celebrates each and every human life.
Dr. Mike Stonington here from Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. Here in South Mississippi on Stonington Farm, our steers are grass-fed and grass-finished. No grain, no hormones, no antibiotics, no mRNA vaccines. Our grass-fed and grass-finished beef is straight from our farm to your table. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and at StoningtonFarm.com. That's StoningtonFarm.com with 2 N's. And we deliver every 4 weeks to the Jackson area. We are the grass-fed difference.
Venable Glass is your local glass expert, offering residential, automotive, and commercial glass. Venable Glass can do it all. Windshield repair, replacement of shower doors, mirrors, and everything in between. What sets Venable Glass apart from the rest? Unmatched reliability and customer service. Don't forget, tell your insurance company that you want to use Venable Glass. And remember, you do have a choice. Let Venable Glass work hard to earn your business. Call Venable's Ridgeland or Brandon locations today for a free estimate or visit venableglass.com.
From a cabin on a creek to a field where the big bucks sneak. Oh, yeah! Tom Smith Land and Home. Find your place where your roots can grow. From hunting ground to your front door key, call the landman of Mississippi. Tom Smith Land and Home. Yeah, the landman's who you need. Brought to you by Tom and Ellen Smith. Tom Smith Land and Homes. That's it.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, right here at the WYAB headquarters in Flora, Mississippi. This is the Lindsay Beckham Show. I'm, of course, Lindsay Beckham. We are also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. As always, feel free to call in. Let me know your thoughts. Or if you have any questions, 601-879-0002 is the number to the station if you would like to participate in today's show. 601-879-4648 is our text line. If you have anything you want to send through a text message, I love hearing from all of you and getting your thoughts and opinions and what you think about these topics that I care so deeply about. Earlier this week, Mississippi Today, and y'all know how I feel about them, but they put out an article that had the headline reading, Trump administration adds state health officer Dr. Dan Edney to the short list of nominees for CDC director. Of course, CDC, Center for Disease Control. The Washington Post first reported that Dr. Edney is among the contenders this past Sunday. Now, the deadline to appoint a new director of the nation's top public health agency is coming up soon. The acting director's position will expire today. So we're waiting on the White House to submit a formal nominee for this role. The Trump administration is seriously considering about half a dozen different people to nominate for this position, including former Kentucky Republican Governor Dr. Ernie Fletcher and Johns Hopkins cardiologist Dr. Joseph Marine. Now, once selected for this role as the top position, CDC, this will require the Senate's approval. That change was implemented in 2025, and I am personally thankful for that because we have that rule here, that law here in Mississippi when it comes to certain positions as well, including superintendent of Mississippi Public Schools. Now, once the board selects someone or appoints someone, nominates someone, a lot of times they will go ahead and start working in that position. But the next legislative session, our state senators here in Mississippi have to vote to confirm that nomination. And we have seen them vote against some people who were appointed or nominated by the Board of Education, the State Board of Education, because they didn't need to be in that position. So I definitely agree with having the Senate confirm these appointments. Now, Dr. Edney has served as Mississippi's state health officer since August of 2022. He, of course, replaced former state health officer Dr. Dobbs. And he previously served as the state agency's deputy state health officer and chief medical officer. He worked very closely with Dr. Dobbs on the department's COVID-19 response. Y'all all know how I feel about that. Dr. Edney is also a former president of the Mississippi State Medical Association and former board member of the Mississippi State Board of Medical Licensure. He worked in private practice over in Vicksburg, Mississippi for 30 years as an internal medicine specialist. He is also board certified in addiction medicine. He has declined to comment on his nomination for this role. Now, I'm going to read this next sentence, and it's a little comical, but during his tenure at the Mississippi State Department of Health, the agency has seen some improvements in public health, rising to 48th in one national ranking of health measures that's released annually by the United Health Foundation. Yay, 48th, Mississippi, 48th. Doesn't make me too confident. Now, Mississippi also tops the list at number 1 for infant death. We also top a lot of lists at number 1 for childhood vaccination rates. Those two couldn't possibly be connected, could they? I wish that I could show a picture of Dr. Edney through the radio, because he also doesn't look like a picture of health by any means. He is a very big believer in all things vaccines. Again, he and Dr. Dobbs worked together on the COVID policies. They were all for shutting the world down, shutting down businesses, shutting down schools, masking our children, mandating that mask be worn in all public places. People lost their homes, they lost their livelihoods, they lost their businesses, and yet bars and liquor stores and strip clubs were deemed necessary to stay open. So, needless to say, he would not be my pick to lead the CDC. I think that is an extremely important role, and I can't possibly see he and RFK Jr. agreeing on very much. So, this would be a very interesting nominee, and I wonder how the Senate would vote on that confirmation. I wonder what those senators in Washington would think about the man over health in Mississippi, highest teenage pregnancy rate, one of the most obese, number 1 in infant mortality. Is that really who we want to lead the country when it comes to medical decisions and health? You know, several years ago, after advocating for over a decade at the legislative level, Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights found about 7 plaintiffs and sued the state of Mississippi with the help of the Informed Consent Action Network, Del Bigtree, and Aaron Seary, who, by the way, if you have not seen the Aaron Seary podcast that was just released a few weeks ago, I'll post the link in the comments. It's incredible. You definitely need to hear what he has to say. But yeah, so sued the state of Mississippi in order to get those religious rights that the Constitution gives us, that God gives us, those unalienable rights I talk about all the time that we're born with, that government doesn't give us, but our Creator does. In order to say that it is my sincerely held religious belief that I do not inject my child with aborted fetal cells and mercury and aluminum. I didn't get that choice living here in Mississippi if I wanted to send my children to school. Up until a few years ago, when a judge on the coast in a federal courtroom ruled that it was, in fact, unconstitutional and a violation of our religious freedom and rights to not allow a religious exemption when it comes to the things that we inject into our children's bodies. You can look that case up. It's called Broussard versus Edney. Edney, because that was who was on the other side, fighting against parents, fighting for unconstitutional laws in the state of Mississippi. No, I don't think that's who we need over the CDC. I don't think so. Not at all. Not in the least little bit. So if this appointment is made, and I would hope that someone within the Trump administration would know better, but God forbid, if that appointment is made, then I suggest you all get on the phone and call Cindy Hyde-Smith and Roger Wicker and let them know we don't support this. And we do not want them voting to confirm Dr. Edney to head the CDC. We got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. Lots more to talk about. We will be right back here. WIAB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show. Right back here. WIAB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to ring partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
CBS News brief. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff confirms a 15-point ceasefire plan was presented to Iran, and he says there are strong signs Tehran can be persuaded it has no other option. President Trump spoke at a cabinet meeting.
They're talking to us because they've got a disaster on their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback.
He's urged Iran to get serious. Key question today about legal fees facing former President Maduro of Venezuela. CBS's Katrina Kaufman covered his court appearance in New York.
Will the Venezuelan government be allowed to pay these legal fees? Could this case be dismissed? An outcome that I think is very unlikely.
No let-up in the long security lines at Houston's Bush Airport. CBS's Shauna Mazel.
This line actually starts outside. It wraps around this entire concourse, and the wait time here for this specific checkpoint is 180 minutes.
CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
Grizz Nation, your Memphis Grizzlies season is in full swing at FedEx Forum, and there's nothing like being there to cheer on your team. Grab your tickets and bring your energy to the electric atmosphere of a Grizz game. Tickets are always available online at grizzlies.com/tickets or in person at the FedEx Forum box office in Memphis.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Get ready, Mississippi. You're invited to Cameron's Garage, Claws and Clovers on Saturday, March 28th. Kick things off with brunch from 10 to 2. Then stick around as the crawfish boil starts at 2 p.m. Fresh, hot, and full of flavor. And that's not all. Live music from Burnham Road. So bring your crew and get ready to party. Great food, cold drinks, live music, and St. Patty's vibes all day long. Cameron's Garage, where the party never stops. Cover starts at 6. Don't miss it.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
Come together.
Welcome back into the Lindsay Beckham Show, live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And as always, WYAB.com and on your FM radio, 103.9. You can always find us there. 601-879-0002 is the number if you would like to call in and give your thoughts or opinions on the show today. 601-879-4648 is our text line if you have something that you would like to text as well. And then, of course, we have the chat here on the live stream. I still cannot figure out how to change the background here on the live stream chat, but I am going to figure that out at some point. But there were some social media fireworks yesterday about the redistricting. Now, this is always a point of contention for all of our legislators. You know, when their districts are being redrawn, that could mean a lot for reelection. In 2025, U.S. District Judge Sherian Aycock ruled decades-old judicial district lines used for the election. Now, this is the election of our Mississippi Supreme Court. Now, this judge said that they violate Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Among the plaintiffs in this lawsuit are Senate Minority Leader Derek Simmons. This is an ACLU and Southern Poverty Law Center lawsuit, by the way. You all know how I feel about the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, the organization that placed me on a hate map right next to the KKK because I show up at school board meetings and advocate for my children. You know, that's them. That's the Southern Poverty Law Center. They also give money to Nancy Loom and her organization, the Anti-Parents Campaign, so they can fight parents, since parents obviously don't know best. Being a little facetious there. Anyway, this judge did rule that the way that we draw the Mississippi Supreme Court lines violate the Voting Rights Act. They say the existing North, Central, and South judicial districts diluted Black voting strength. Now, Sean and I always argue about this topic because I don't think there should be any lines drawn or districts drawn because of how many white people or black people there are or what the BVAP is. I didn't even know what a BVAP was until a few years ago. And I don't think that should be a deciding factor in how we draw our districts within the state. But this is where it gets interesting because our Lieutenant Governor, Delbert Hosemann, he has an R behind his name here, but I don't know if I trust that. He recently named Senate Minority Leader Democrat Derek Simmons as one of the 3 Senate conferees tasked with negotiating final legislation to overhaul the state Supreme Court map. Now, this is very interesting because what it does is place a lead litigant against the state at the very center of what should be the remedy process. He is joined by 2 Republicans in this task, Senators Bryce Wiggins and Joey Fillingane. Those are the other conferees. And then they will join with the House conferees that are obviously appointed by Jason White, Speaker of the House. Now, he has an R behind his name, and rightfully so. And as most people with an R behind their name, he chose 3 Republicans as conferees for the House. Those include Kevin Horan, Jansen Owen, and Joey Hood. Now, Judge Aycock's ruling also says that the state's 3 Supreme Court districts were drawn in a way that prevents Black voters from having an equal opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. But rather than impose the map herself, she gave the legislature the first opportunity to fix the violation. So these lawmakers are now under pressure to produce a compliant plan this session, or they risk a court-ordered map. Her ruling also comes at a time when the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, is actively deliberating a case that could prevent the use of race-based decision-making and how electoral maps are drawn. That's what I think should happen. I don't think that any of our maps should be drawn because of race decisions. There are plaintiffs in Louisiana that have argued Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is an unconstitutional violation of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. So there are several cases that there will be rulings on in the near future. There are several coming through the U.S. Court of Appeals as well. Case out of Arkansas. So any of those cases could prove fatal to the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center's lawsuit that says we must come up with new maps that they approve of by the end of this legislative session. But again, the very strange thing here is that our lieutenant governor has placed this Democrat leader onto this group of conferees, putting him on both sides. Arguably a very legally conflicting position. He is taking part now in negotiating legislation that will directly respond to a lawsuit which he is, in fact, a plaintiff. He's on both sides of the litigation at this point. So if he signs on to a plan with his fellow legislators, it might create legal arguments that could be used against his co-plaintiffs, should they still object to the legislature's solution. If he fails to sign on, it could create additional legal arguments against the state. One could actually assume that he won't do anything to weaken the pending litigation to which he is, in fact, a party. This also puts the state in a bit of a position here The state has filed an appeal to the Fifth Circuit Court, but the appellate court is holding the case pending the U.S. Supreme Court's decision. The Fifth Circuit, however, has not stayed ACOC's decision in the interim, meaning that it remains in force, and this must be done. Our legislature could redistrict the Supreme Court maps before they leave at the end of this legislative session to comply with the ruling, only to find out in a few months that it wasn't even necessary because the Supreme Court rules in a different way. But if we do nothing and the Supreme Court ultimately upholds Section 2, then Judge Aycock could actually impose her own court-drawn map. Very interesting and a little confusing. Why would our Republican lieutenant governor place a Democrat senator in this group knowing that it's a conflict? I don't understand how you could look at this and not see it as a conflict. You can't be suing the state and then sit on a committee with a group of people who are attempting to rectify the situation. It doesn't make sense. I honestly don't understand how this is even legal. In my mind, it seems like it wouldn't be. And I can't understand Lieutenant Governor Hoseman's mindset here in making this decision. Of course, there's a lot of things he's done I can't quite understand or wrap my head around. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. We got to take our last break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to wrap things up on this beautiful Thursday afternoon here on WIB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show. WIB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show.
Keep it tuned here to 1039 WYAB.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
Need a new car? Then march right over to Mazda of Jackson and spring in the savings. Get 1.9% financing for 63 months on all 2025 CX-5s, 2026 CX-90s, CX-50s, CX-70s, and Mazda 3s with approved credit. And get 1-year maintenance included on your new vehicle purchase. Don't wait another minute to experience Mazda's exhilarating performance, top-notch safety, and reliability. So get to Mazda of Jackson today, where pre-owned vehicles and hassle-free trade-in options are also available. Shop online or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
This is Demario Davis from the New Orleans Saints. As a Brandon, Mississippi native, I've seen the positive effects Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge has across the state. Help us restore broken families and fight against addiction by donating an unneeded vehicle, even if it doesn't run. Mercy House will pick it up for you. All paperwork is handled and you receive a tax deduction. Call 601-572-7296 or visit vehicledonationsms.com.
Thank you for helping us get our daddies back.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach. working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Since 2012, Brentech Solutions has been keeping Central Mississippi businesses connected and protected. From secure data backup and cloud services with Synology to reliable network design and maintenance, servers, and business Wi-Fi, Brentech truly does it all. Brentech is your Ring Pro partner and smart home automation solutions provider. Brentech can handle Microsoft 365 support and even Starlink. Visit brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. IT solutions that work.
Efficient and trouble-free payroll processing is crucial to a business's success, and a lot of businesses are struggling with it. PeopleLease, a local payroll provider, not only offers top-of-the-line software, but also provides on-demand payroll support services. With PeopleLease, you're never on your own at every step of your payroll process. PeopleLease has the expertise in managing payroll challenges and will work hard to understand your business and employees. That's what makes PeopleLease the perfect choice for you and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
Come together.
We are back here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. The last few minutes of the Lindsay Beckham Show on this Thursday afternoon. Again, today, you don't want to miss this epic school choice debate, the biggest one so far, being put on by Merge Mississippi. Our friend over in Rankin County, Chris Tapia. He's been on the show, I believe, with Andrew on the Andrew Gosser show before. You've probably seen him around. He's got a great podcast and he's really out there active in his community. So super excited about that. 5:30 in Pearl, Mississippi. Myself, Leah Ferretti, Gerard Gibbert, Representative Jansen Owen, and Russ Latino will be taking on a group to oppose school choice. I love a good debate. Also, tomorrow here on the Lindsay Beckham Show, we will have in studio with us Russ Latino. I'm sure that we will recap the debate and also talk about this issue with the Senate and the Supreme Court redistricting map. Russ posted about that on social media yesterday. He's also written a few pieces about it. Of course, he is the founder of the Magnolia Tribune, which I highly recommend, where I get a lot of my news from. I think one of the only news organizations or place to get your news where it's not leaning right or left. You get the facts. So he's going to be here tomorrow. We're going to talk about all the things this legislative session and what he thinks is going to end up happening, from the teacher pay raise crisis, both sides going at it with each other, to the PBM reform, the redistricting, PERS, and are we spending entirely too much money? I would say yes, as usual. So definitely do not want to miss that. He will be here tomorrow, 12:06 p.m. in the studio on the Lindsay Beckham Show. So we'll be back then, same time, same place. Hope y'all have a great afternoon.